Joining me now from New York is Colin Clarke. He's a director of research at Soufan Group, a global intelligence and security firm. Colin, welcome to the program. Well, we know Thailand has a lot of guns. Gun ownership there, in fact, is higher than the rest of Asia. But how often do shootings, or I should say massacres like this, happen there?
Well, thanks for having me on this very kind of somber topic. You're right. Thailand, compared to other Asian countries, has a relatively high rate of gun ownership, approximately 15 guns for every 100 private citizens, which is nowhere close to the U.S., which is about 120 guns per 100 individuals. However, we don't see these large massacres. There's smaller incidents, homicides, robberies, et cetera, that bedevil and plague a country like Thailand, but nothing on this level. This is a fairly high-profile, anomalous event, in my opinion.
And how do you protect soft targets like a daycare center? I mean, you are a security expert. Your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's about identifying threats, about prioritizing what we call racking and stacking, conducting continuous assessments, intelligence assessments. And I'd say, because this is an individual that had been, accused of using drugs. One, that's a precipitating event. Two, he had then been fired. When we look at the study of extremism and radicalization, these kind of seminal events that people have where they endure a personal crisis, they can often be a triggering event for something larger. And so, that's on, I think, the Royal Thai Police or some of the security agencies within Thailand that may have missed some important signals.
The fact that he was fired from his job, he had a history of violence and drug use, and yet he had a weapon. Is there any kind of checks and balances, if you will, any kind of monitoring in Thailand that would have stopped him from having a weapon?
Well, certainly that's going to come out in the hours and days ahead, and there's going to be some real scrutiny given to what the policies are, if there were policies on the books, how closely they were followed to the letter of the law, because oftentimes there's a difference between doctrine or policies and regulations and what happens in practice. Was this somebody that had authority? Was he able to kind of evade the rules that would have been applied to others? All of these are very, very important questions, not only in figuring out what happened in this specific incident, but more importantly, at this point, preventing it from happening again.
Well, and will this really change anything in terms of gun laws in Thailand?
It very well may. I mean, sitting here in the United States, we feel a bit helpless that nothing will ever change. But when we look across the world, there's some sense for hope for optimism when you look at a country like Canada or Australia or some of these countries that have dealt with large-scale massacres and then have had, and this is the important part, the political will to actually go ahead and make those changes that are necessary.
And maybe I'm wrong here, but I don't get the sense that gun control, this issue, is as divisive there as it is here in the United States.
Yeah, here it's deeply ingrained with the culture of this country. There's a lot of myths that surround it. And frankly, there's a lot of lobbying efforts, as you're well aware, with the NRA and other institutions that essentially pay for play, pay for access. That's something unlikely to be evident on the same scale or anywhere close in a country like Thailand.
And finally, I have to ask you about the black market. How easy is it to acquire illegal weapons in Thailand on the black market?
Yeah, so it's the regional hub for weapons trafficking and really for kind of illicit trafficking and smuggling of many things, including humans, including drugs, synthetic chemicals and others. So that's a bit tougher. That gets into issues like border security, corruption, a free and fair judiciary, et cetera. So that's, I think, more of a long-term issue, but certainly something's going to need to be done in the short term to figure out how to prevent this from happening again.
All right, Colin Clarke, on a sad, sad day in Thailand. Thank you very much.